Good job. All right, some tough words there, but y'all did pretty good. I did really good, actually. that's what that's what Bruce said. All right. So we have here an interesting situation, Jephthah's conflict with Ephraim, and it's not a pretty picture. It's not a good situation. There's nothing nice about it. There's nothing engaging about it. So number one, I want you to see the men of Ephraim. The men of Ephraim. Hang on just a second. First of all, they refuse to help. They refuse to help. They make a statement, and then Jephthah refutes it. And there's nothing else said about it. They make a statement in verse 1 and says in the last third of the verse, "And didst not call us to go with thee." They said, "You passed over to fight against the children of Ammon, and you did not call us to go with thee." Well, Jephthah said unto them, "I went up, great strife with the children of Ammon, and when I called you." So obviously, there was a call for help. Now, we don't have it recorded in chapter 11. We don't have it in 10 or 11 that Jephthah made a call. It would stand to reason, though, that he would ask for help from other people. I don't know whether, we'll get into a little bit of this in a minute, but, sometimes people don't want to fight what they think is a losing battle. They don't want to be a part of the losing team. And so when somebody says full-heartedly, "Hey, we're going to go fight against the Ammonites," they go, "Well, good luck, man. We'll be praying for you." And they come back and say, "Hey, you went and fought and didn't call us." He said, "I went up. I got my people and went up, and when I called you," don't tell me I didn't call you. "When I called you, you refused." They refused to help. Let it be, they thought that they were deserving. Here they come. Let me go back. Hang on, let me look at something real quick. I didn't think about this till right now. I can't find it right now. Hang on. I want to find this. I don't know why I didn't think about this. Go back to chapter 8. This is kind of the same story. Chapter 8. Gideon has just won the big battle. "And the men of Ephraim said unto him, Why hast thou served us thus? And thou called us not when thou went to fight with the Midianites." He did. He gave them the opportunity. In chapter 8, they had or chapter 7, they had the opportunity. In chapter 8, we deserved a chance. Chapter 12, you didn't call us. We deserve a chance. We deserve a chance. This has gone on for all of eternity. When I say eternity, all of the time on earth. It would be shocking to most people how often, and I'm not talking about war, obviously, but how often this kind of thing gets said in church. To the pastor, to the assistant pastor, to the youth pastor. Well, after something is successful and something that was announced and, hey, we need help, and hey, are you willing, and it went great, and then they come and say, well, you didn't ask me to go. You didn't, didn't ask me to help. You didn't ask me to help. You didn't ask me to go. You didn't ask me to help. You didn't ask me to go. You didn't ask me to help. You didn't ask me to go. You didn't ask me to help. Yeah, we did. 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 It was in the bulletin for a month. We announced it from the pulpit for a month. It was on the pre-service slides. It was on the post-service slides. It was on the offertory slides. It was like you had opportunity. Well, they were deserving. Well, that wasn't where I wanted to serve. I wanted to serve over there. Now, I'll just be honest with you, I haven't dealt with a lot of that in this church. But it is in every church. And here they are. They thought they were deserving. They thought nothing could be done without them. And you have these people that are, they're tailcoat riders. After, it's the mouse syndrome. Mouse and the elephant cross the bridge. When they get to the other side, the mouse looks up at the elephant and says, man, we really shook that bridge, didn't we? Nothing can be done without them. You did what without me? How dare you do this? I can't believe you actually did something right. You actually got the victory. You didn't call us. Man, what a bunch of whiners. What a bunch of me, I deserve. They threatened the one that got the job done. And this happens in churches. Look at verse 1. Men of Ephraim gathered themselves together, went northward, said to Jephthah, wherefore passed thou over to fight against the children of Ammon, and did not call us to go with thee? You passed over our country and did not call, which he did, and didn't call. Well, we're going to burn your house down. I'm trying not to be political right now, but I'll do it, okay? We are going to burn your house down. What kind of sense does that make? That makes absolutely no sense. It's kind of like, was it Ohio State University that every time they win a championship, they about burn the city to the ground? They turn cars over and burn them, and other cities are doing it now, but man, Columbus, Ohio, when Ohio State wins the national championship, they just burn the place to the ground almost. I can't remember when was it, a couple of years ago. Some city, when they win, they would climb the light poles and do stuff. In the city officials went around greasing the light poles. They couldn't climb them because they greased them to keep them from destroying them. They probably set fire to them instead. But they threatened the one that had gotten the job done. Y'all want to come and help? Y'all want to come? No, not us, not us. That's not what we do. That's not what we do. Well, we're going to go take care of it. Go get the job done and come back. And they go, well, you know what we're going to do? Because you did the job, we're going to destroy you. And this continues in almost all areas of life. Almost all areas. This happens in churches. Man gives his life to a church, sacrifices, his family sacrifices, and all of a sudden the church turns on him. It happens in politics. It's a little more, it's a little different there. It happens in, I dare say this happens in police force. Was it Elijah that said, man hath no honor in his own country? Was it Elijah that said that? Jesus, okay, I was saying Elijah. Jesus said, a prophet hath no honor in his own country. And this man's got the job done, and they threatened him. Let her read, they picked a fight with the wrong man. They did. Look at number 2, Jephthah and the Gileadites. They come and say, little brats expecting to strong-arm a man. I really think they're just trying to strong-arm him. I don't know what they were expecting to accomplish. The battle was over. There was no more fighting. There was some stuff they could have done, I guess. But there's really nothing left to do. Well, I don't know what they would. They want him to say, okay, well, y'all go finish up what we started. I don't know. But he number one, he tried to reason with them. Jephthah tried to reason with them. He said unto them, listen, guys, I and my people were at a great strife with the children of Ammon. And it wasn't just the Gileadites. It wasn't just Manasseh. If we go back, we understand it was 18 years that they were under with other tribes. We don't know for sure if it was the whole nation, but it was several tribes were under the control of the Ammonites. Remember we read in chapter 11 that the Philistines had come up also. And so they came from both sides of this thing, of the country. So they were giving us a hard time, and he says, and when we called to you, you delivered me not out of their hands. You didn't give any help. And when I saw that you delivered me not, I put my life in my hands and passed over against the children of Ammon. The Lord delivered them into my hand. I'm glad he gave credit to the Lord there. It's kind of a surprise, but I'm glad he did that. And the Lord delivered them into my hand. Wherefore then are you come up to me this day to fight against me? He does not challenge them right there. He doesn't say, oh yeah, well let me tell you something. Let me tell you what I'm going to do. You want to push this issue? This is what I'm going to do. He doesn't do that. He says, guys, we tried. We asked you to go. You said you're not going to help us, so we left. We put our lives in our hands. And the Lord helped us. The Lord gave us a great victory. And now what? You want to fight us now? Which doesn't make sense because they had just destroyed the Ammonites, a large army, and so here they come at him. He tried to reason them. He gave them a chance to back down. He said, listen, guys, just take it easy. And we don't read every single little detail, but we can infer certain things. We can infer that they didn't say, well, no, you didn't call us. You owe us. They obviously didn't leave. So Jephthah gathered to battle Ephraim. What a sad thing. Here these two brothers, groups of brothers, are going to war against each other. They're going to fight against each other. Why? Because Ephraim felt left out of a battle. Pride. Well, you didn't call us, and so we're going to burn your house down. We're going to destroy everything you've got. How childish. How self-serving. And look what happens because of their own pride and childishness. We come to number 3, the conflict. The Gileadites defeated the Ephraimites. Okay? Verse 4, Jephthah gathered the men of Gilead, fought with Ephraim. The men of Gilead smote Ephraim because they said, ye Gileadites are fugitives of Ephraim among the Ephraimites, among Manassites. They said, you're just a bunch of fugitives. You're nobody. You don't count. You don't matter. A bunch of losers. So they picked a fight. Gileadites, verse 5, took the passages on Jordan before the Ephraimites. And it was so that when those Ephraimites which were escaped, that didn't die in battle, when they went to pass over Jordan and said, let me go over, that the men of Gilead said unto them, art thou an Ephraimite? And if he said nay, then they asked him, say Shibboleth. I don't know why. I don't understand why the Ephraimites couldn't say it, yet the Gileadites could say it. I guess it'd be like asking a northerner to say y'all. I don't know. Or asking a northerner to say, get on out of here. We understand what that means. The northerner doesn't understand what get on out of here means. I saw a thing on Facebook several years ago that had southern sayings trying to be interpreted by northerners, by Yankees, and one of them was, get on out of here. And they were like, I don't have any idea what get on out of here means. It means get on out of here. That's what it means. I don't know whether they couldn't, it was that kind of thing or what, but they said whenever they had defeated them and obviously had killed many of them, then they took over the crossing of the banks of the Jordan. And those that did not die on that day, when they tried to cross, they said, "Oh, are you an Ephraimite?" "No, I'm not." "Really?" "Say Shibboleth." And they couldn't say the sh. They couldn't get that. They said Sibboleth. And they knew that they were an Ephraimite. They destroyed the Ephraimites because, letter C, they outwitted them. There's a series on Netflix called Unabomber. It's the hunt for Ted Krasinski. And it's told from it's really the story about the man who broke the profile. And they used language. He used wordage, the verbiage. He took his manifesto and compared it to letters that were submitted by Ted's brother, and they got a warrant for that. And in the series, they take the warrant that's not anything but language to the judge. And he said, I would not, there's not a precedent for this, but I'm going to grant this because when I served in World War II, he said we had passwords. He said, and one of the passwords we had was liberty, because the Japanese could not say liberty. They said liberty. And they couldn't say the la, liberty. It's basically the same thing they were doing here, to find out who the enemy was. This is sad. Verse 6, the end of it. And there fell at that time of the Ephraimites 42,000. 42,000 men died because you didn't call us, and we're going to burn your house down. Pride. 42, I could assume, wives. 42,000 wives lost their husbands. 42,000 women, I know, lost either husbands or sons. And maybe number may be smaller because multiple sons could have been, obviously, of a woman could have been fighting, but 42,000 men because they felt slighted, when in reality they were not. The application of this is how many churches are destroyed because this group of people right here felt like we didn't pick our color of the wall. We were talking about the color of these walls before church. I like this color. I think it's a good color. Don and Merrill obviously like this color. They want to put it in part of their house at least. But some people may not like that color. You have a group of people over here that said, you know what, I like the old color, the white color. We should not have repainted. You know what? We're going to leave the church because you painted the color of the walls. Because you painted the walls this color instead of leaving them white. So, well, that's silly. That's ridiculous. Yeah. It's as ridiculous as what happened right here. There are, I can't give a number because I don't know a number, but there are thousands upon thousands of people young people who've grown up in church and watched those stupid fights like that happen. And they say, I don't want that. I don't want to go to a church. If that's what church is about, man, fighting over that. Man, fire my dad because of such and such. It's ridiculous because they didn't like the fact that he took his glasses. We had a man at Volusia County that left the church because my dad took his glasses on and off too much. And he did take them on and off a lot at that time in his life. He did. Glasses were new for him. And he did take them on. But he left the church because of that. Oh, my word. People firing pastors or youth pastors because of little petty things. I'm not talking about the big deals. I'm talking about little petty things. And kids getting jaded. I'm not saying they're not responsible, but man, it happens. It happens. On the back side of your page there, we're going to finish up the chapter, okay? This is very quickly, Jephthah's death and the following judges, there's just not enough here to spend an entire night. And so we're going to get this out of the way this week, and we're going to jump into chapter 13 next week with the life of Samson. And things get real interesting there. You know that. Things get real interesting in chapter 13. Verse 7. Jephthah judged Israel 6 years. Then died Jephthah the Gileadite and was buried in one of the cities of Gilead. Just very quickly, he judged for 6 years. And in this, we see the fighting. That's the bad thing about what we have of these judges. We don't see the good they did. And I don't question God. Okay, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not questioning God's writing of the book of Judges. But it'll be neat to get to heaven and find out the good things. We know some of the things that Gideon did, some of the good things. But here he judged six years, and we have very little really about him. We have even less about the other ones. Ibzan. Verse 8, and after him, Ibzan of Bethlehem judged Israel. And he had 30 sons and 30 daughters. I don't get it. I don't get it. 30 sons and 30 daughters. What an odd thing to happen, that he would have 30 of each. And he judged for only 7 years. We know less about him than we do about Jephthah, but we know even less about Elon. Number 3 is Elon, E-L-O-N. Ibzan died, was buried in Bethlehem. After him, Elon, a Zebulunite, judged Israel, and judged Israel 10 years. And Elon the Zebulunite died and was buried in Aijalon in the country of Zebulun. That's all we know, is he was from Zebulun, and he ruled for 10 years. He judged for 10 years. It's interesting to me that God used so many men and women or so many different tribes to be judges during this time. Elon, a Zebulunite. We know 2 verses that don't really give us a lot of information. He was born in Zebulun. He died, or he judged for 10 years, and he died and was buried in Zebulun. Just not a whole lot about him. Then we have, lastly, Abdon. If you've got a King James Bible, it's a little misleading. I don't want to say it's misleading. It's not the right words, actually, I should say. After him, Abdon, the son of Hillel, Perethonite, judged Israel. He had 40 sons, and the King James says 30 nephews, but really it's 30 grandsons. It's 30 grandsons. And they rode on 70 colts, donkey colts. And he judged Israel 8 years. And Abdon died and was buried in Parathon, land of Ephraim, in the mountain of the Amalekites. And so here, it's very likely, very possible. I'm not going to say it is a definite, because we don't know. But it's very likely that these 3 judges judged at the same time. And we don't know the overlap of any of these judges. I don't believe that every judge we read about was trying to judge, was judging over the entire land. It doesn't seem to be that way. It's very likely that these 3 were judging at around the same time and maybe overlapped a little bit. Anyway, we have their names. We don't know much about them, but God gave us their names. And even though we know just a little bit about them, they meant something to God. And I take great comfort in that. We should all take great comfort in that. We are, even big churches, even big name preachers, in the scheme of things are pretty insignificant. And here we are in Hull, Georgia. When you say that to people in Athens, some of them don't even know where Hull is. They don't even know where Hull, Georgia is. They live right there. It's not a big town. And here we are, a little church in Hull, Georgia, but you know what? We matter. We may be 2 verses We may be only 2 verses in the book, but we matter. You matter. I matter. And God cares about each and every one of us. Lord, I thank you that you care. I thank you for recording the stories, although we don't know much, the names of these men. Lord, that to let us know that we matter, they mattered, and we matter. Lord, I pray that we would go about our duties, and I don't like to use that word, but I don't know what else to use, Lord. Our activities in church with the attitude of, well, even if I don't do it, if it gets taken care of, God be praised. And Lord, we could take the other attitude, the attitude of the Ephraimites, about a lot of things in life, but may we not do that. May we be content to do the things that we're called to do and that we take part in. In Jesus' name, amen.